Yes, everybody, we're live here. We have Garrett Hawkins here with us today. He is the president of the Missouri Farm Bureau Board of Directors. Garrett, how are you today?
I'm great. I'm here in Sedalia, Missouri. It is Legislators' Day at the Missouri State Fair. We are on the home stretch of the 10-day event, and it's a pleasure to be with you.
Absolutely glad to have you with the state fair underway, and news as well for farmers that are struggling with some of the current conditions going on. And I know that when the Missouri Treasurer announced his new, this replenishing of some of the funds for the loan and relief program, he mentioned some of those variety of factors that are impacting farmers, that have been impacting farmers for the last several years. What do you think about the timeliness of finding relief, especially during the drought, but in the broadest context of what farmers have been facing lately?
Well, this is really year two of what has been a severe drought. Truly, many states around the country have been gripped by adverse weather conditions, and certainly we in Missouri have felt that firsthand. We'll know the full extent really when it comes to fall harvest and the impact on corn, beans, and other crops. But truly, those of us that raise cattle, like myself, we have really struggled this year with pasture conditions. Folks have been culling cows, selling what they can to reduce herds, to try to stretch forage. People are trying to acquire hay wherever they can. Now, I guess the bright side is we're starting to get a little rain. We are by no means out of the woods when it comes to relieving this drought, but hopefully we'll start to get some fall pasture growth, maybe some late haying that can be done that will provide a little relief. So that's the on-the-ground assessment.
All right. And, as far as this goes, for folks that are looking at it from the outside in, people looking at it, maybe not as attuned to the cycles of the harvest and what stretch of the game we're in as far as these rains that have come, as far as some of that alleviation, as far as the drought conditions are concerned. How big of a game changer have some of the recent rains, some of the recent weather been for this year in agriculture?
Well, I think for the soybean crop, certainly now starting to get some rain, especially for soybeans that went in the ground later. Certainly, we're seeing a lot of growth, and so that's a good thing. Corn crop was pretty much made already when the rains really started, so time will tell. I can tell you where I farm, Appleton City, so just about 60 miles or so southwest of Sedalia here at the State Fair. I've seen more silage chopping and silage trucks than I've ever seen before, just because of when the extreme heat hit the corn crop in our area. So again, time will tell. As we have really worked from a Farm Bureau standpoint, as well as with the Parson administration, I will say we have tried to make sure that there are as many tools in the toolbox for farm and ranch families as possible to help them get through this time. And that's why the treasurer, when Secretary Malik made the announcement that the MOBUCS, or the Link Deposit Program, that some of those funds are being made available for farm disaster loans. That's an important tool in the toolbox for Missouri farmers and ranchers.
All right. And as far as the broadness of how this is helping people, how far do we expect it to go as far as spreading that around, as far as the amount of recovery that's in something like this?
Sure. So the MOBUCS program has a statutory cap that's established by the legislature, but the treasurer has said $100 million is available, and it's available until it's gone. So there is a portal on the treasurer's website where any interested farmers and ranchers should take a look at. They should also be having a conversation with their local banker. So this loan program can be accessed if you're in a designated drought county, and it can be used for operating expenses for 1 year and can be renewable for several more years after that. So certainly it is a tool in the toolbox. We also have federal USDA programs The U.S. Department of Agriculture has standing disaster programs for the livestock producer that are implementation mode now. I know many of my fellow farmers and ranchers are still waiting on lists to be able to turn in the necessary data in order to access assistance. So really that's what this is about. It is making sure that there are tools available to help farm families survive. And hopefully we're going to keep the precipitation coming in a manageable way to prove for a better 2024.
All right. Anything else to mention today? Anything else important to note when it comes to these sorts of resources, when it comes to people that are looking for that sort of help?
Yeah, so if you're looking for resources, again, I would keep in mind, go to the U.S. Department of Agriculture's website, look up their disaster assistance programs. Clearly, if you're raising row crop, you're involved with the risk management agency as well as your crop insurance provider. So those conversations are ongoing. And now here at the state level with the treasurer's office, make sure to go to treasurer.mo.gov if you're interested in this type of stopgap loan to help with operating expenses.
All right. Great stuff. Garrett Hawkins is the president of the Missouri Farm Bureau Board of Directors. Garrett, thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate you spreading the message.
All right. To our audience as well, thank you for tuning in. We're going to turn it back over to Local News Live. Stick around. Heartland News Now coming up at 4 o'clock.